Reclaiming Timeless Ways, another episode underway. Mike Traster, Simon Fuller, and you. You're the most important piece of this equation, so we thank you for being here. And Mike?
You are. Making peace with a loss.
Ooh.
And there are various kinds of losses. Parent, spouse, friend, job, health, injury, betrayal, and crime are the ones that came to mind. Okay? So,
Inevitably, Mike, and
Yeah.
to set this stage is, I don't know how old you are and what you've been through watching this, but you either have or will go through a loss.
We
So,
do.
I mean, this is an episode
right,
worth taking heed of,
Right.
because it's just a part of it.
right,
It's a part of life, and I always say you don't feel that if you never love. Well,
Right.
we all love,
we do
and
love.
we all want,
Sure.
and so I'm keyed up and cued in and ready to go roll with you, Mike.
Okay, so I like using myself as an example, and there's a reason why. Because when you use yourself as an example, you're not lecturing down at somebody. You're sharing face to face on a level ground. You're saying to them, look, I can never know exactly what you're going through, but I think we're going through something similar.
Yeah, you're
You
walking side by side.
Right. And here's what I experienced. So in my life, the last decade or more of my life, with my folks being alive, was terribly unpleasant. I had been defamed by a family member for the normal reasons. And so our relationship went absolutely to shit. And finally, we were 100% estranged. And now my father was an honest man, a very hard worker. My mom was somewhat hyper-educated. I think I would say that she had she was left-wing indoctrinated from her educational experiences, but I also think she had a real deep issues with stress.
Okay.
You know, and so she was deeply withdrawn, and but so after they passed away, she was like a month or two shy of 89, and he was 93. Her body was riddled with cancer, and the last few years of his life he had cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, and so he worked very hard. He was a salesman, and he was a good salesman. I don't know that he was great, but I'd say he was hitting a lot of singles and doubles all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
he was more like Pete Rose than Babe Ruth.
Sure.
Steady, right, but hardworking. So we wound up disliking each other, and it's very hard to love someone when you dislike them, at least consciously, but deep down in the raw earth of your being, you always loved them.
Sure.
And so this is what I did. I started over time thinking about him differently. Instead of thinking about his temper and his character flaw of believing lies told about me instead of investigating the lies and the liar, right? It was safer emotionally for him to simply say, okay. He was going along to get along, kind of like our friend the police chief.
Yeah.
It's a common story.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I believe probably more common than we care to admit.
Much more common. So I look back at his life and I ask myself, okay, so he did these things that were terribly cowardly and fucked up. Does that discredit his life? No,
No.
it does not. Why doesn't it? And the reason, somebody's sick across the way. It doesn't, because he had a whole life about much more than just his relationship with me and his relationship with the bully liar,
Yeah.
right? So what else did he do? Well, he sold. How often? Every day. Like for a year? No. For 5 years? No. For 10 years? No. For 50 years, you know? Every day, maybe 60. Got up, got out, got in his car, went out, met his customers. He would drive about 100 or so miles every day, like clockwork. He would leave at like 7 and be back at 6. And so we all celebrated the benefits of his hard work. So what am I doing? Am I making this up to make myself feel better? No. I'm taking an inventory of reality, which is much more than how deeply disappointed I am with his betrayal of me, right? So he worked hard. His customers became his friends. They loved him, right? He was a card-carrying ultra-leftist, and yet all of his good lifelong friends were hardcore conservative working-class men. He had almost no leftist friends. Funny. So you're wondering, so what's going on there?
Right.
You know, was
That's
he?
not common.
Well, yeah.
It's not common that would be the scenario.
Right. So I think he was appeasing his wife, my mom, right? But so he did that. So I asked myself, well, what else did he like? So I'm making a picture in my head. Like you can make a picture. What was his day like? So he got up and he put on his suit. He had a couple of nice suits. Not like Pierre Cardin, fancy bullshit, but decent working man's well-made, durable suits.
Right.
And he took great care of them. They were in a special closet just for his work clothes. And then, so he put on his clothes, he dressed nicely, carried himself well. So he did that. He had breakfast, clockwork, got in his car, which was always less than 5 years old. Every 4 or 5 years he bought a new car, and he drove it until he didn't feel like it was worth restoring.
Yeah.
And he bought another new car. And and he went out and he saw his customers. And what else? Well, the other thing that comes to mind is he had many years earlier bought a Nikon camera. We had a family member who went to Japan, and he picked up this Nikon, I can't remember, it was like an F1 or something, gorgeous camera. And so it was a hobby, but it was a thing of love,
Yeah.
right? So he did that, and he took some decent pictures.
Yeah.
You know, world class, no, but he didn't invest that much time in it, but he loved it. And he also enjoyed playing the harmonica. So when you look at somebody who you're angry with, maybe who's broken your heart or betrayed you, right? Or your own life, you've had an accident, you've lost the ability to be a world-class skier or to ski at all, or gymnast or runner, whatever it is. And now the question is, where are you getting your advice from on which inventory you're taking?
Yeah.
Or where am I getting my advice from? Am I getting it from light? Light says what was good, right? Light says acknowledge the dark, but count the good, because there's probably a whole lot more. He loved to travel. That was another thing. He liked to go out to nice restaurants. Oh, that's another thing. He liked to go to junk shops and antique stores and buy things. Kept his car immaculate. So I've just listed, 7 or 8 things that were a normal part. He had people over. He liked to entertain people. They did. You know, my mom was an amazing cook and an extremely gifted seamstress. And she did wonderful things with the house. And so I look at that and I say, okay, we didn't agree about politics at all. Okay. I think their political ideology was misguided at best, absurd and worse. But it was theirs. But is that where I'm going to begin and end my definition of them? Because if so, I'm not being honest.
Right. I mean,
Right.
no different, Mike. You know, you're talking about the grief or loss of somebody who's alive, but the grief is wrong. You've been wronged.
Right.
You know, and it's the same. Think of it in the terms that where I thought you were originally going in this show, because I truly don't know what Mike's up to. Really don't until we get rolling.
I never tell him.
Think about somebody who truly have lost. In other words, is no longer living. What do
Right.
we do at their visitation?
Right.
We do exactly what you're saying, Mike. I mean, they
Right.
probably weren't perfect, because who is?
No.
So what do you see on the TV screen scrolling? Pictures of memories of fishing
Right.
trips, of family
Right.
gatherings, of
Right.
events. You see people chatting over a luncheon or a meal, having good story time, or during the service, maybe some people sharing comments and stories about that individual.
Right?
Absolutely, every one of us has done something wrong to somebody.
Oh,
in
yeah,
some capacity.
we have. And
What you're saying is focus. What are we focusing on here? When you talk
Right.
about the inventory, it's the same idea as
Then-
you would do at a service, just like
Right.
somebody who you're honoring in their life.
like when you're a teacher or a parent, you want to do the 90-10 deal, 90% positive, 10% correction, and not beating the crap out of them emotionally, but just telling them, no, you don't do that, and here's the reason why. The last part of this one is what I call the treasure chest, and that is my mother smoked, it destroyed her life. She smoked, and that was a direct cause of her body being destroyed. She would have lived at least 10 more years, and probably good. She probably would have died peacefully at over 100, right? I know, because her dad made it to 93, and he was a long-term smoker also, okay? So, out of the treasure chest, what I'm saying is, cigarettes are an absolutely lethal, evil poison. They will do you nothing but horrible harm. Know that and speak it. Say it. That's from the treasure. My father worked with insecticides. He would sell them, but so he would use them as a sample, and he was exposed to a lot. And I think between my mother's cigarette smoke and his exposure to pesticides, his dementia was the result. So reduce your exposure to insecticides, you know. Now, what is that? Is that my opinion? Not only, it's a fact, you know. When you look up causes, you know, you look up what is the effect of long-term exposure to insecticides. It's like, boom, there it is, right? So and then the other thing is, do not be a coward to a viper and their lies. Confront them, right? You have to. You have to. And if you can't, if you try and nobody's going to listen to you, then you have to withdraw for your own sanity, right? Now, has the outcome been fair? No, it's not fair. But are you doing the best you can do to maintain your emotional and spiritual and physical well-being? Yeah, you don't want to be in that nest of vipers. When people are buying lies, you pull away. Now, do you regret that you have to pull away? Yes, because you're telling yourself the truth, right? So don't be afraid to tell yourself the truth. If you've experienced a loss because of a liar, know that that person is your enemy, because they are. We have enemies, just like we have friends. If we didn't have the definition of friend, we wouldn't have the definition of like light and dark, heavy and light, right? Warm and cold, enemy, friend, right? So, for example, if we knew somebody that smoked, a friend, or drank, or did drugs, and it ended their life, do we just look at them and go, God, fucking moron, and just encapsulate them in that one thing? Or do we say, that was an absolute horror, but there was so much more to them, and that's what I know about them. That's the 90. That's not the 10 is the smoking and the drinking and the gambling or the temper or whatever, but the 90 is, who was that person that I loved, you know? And now, just because I say it, does that make it easy?
No.
Right, because we have to remind ourselves. Because we always go in the inventory, we go to the negative and we go,
It's no different, Mike. I also am in sales like your father, and I
Yeah.
can go out
Right.
and see 10 clients in one day,
yeah,
and 9 of them say, have great positive interactions with, and one, as soon as I walk through the door, what do you want? Get out of it, whatever it could be. And that can blow up the whole day for me if I
Yeah,
let it. But wait
right,
a second,
yeah.
I had 9 other
Okay.
people who either said yes or
Okay.
had a good conversation or da-da-da-da-da. It's if I allow it to, and that's really in a summation of what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can allow that one to blow up my whole day, that 10%.
Right?
Or I can choose to focus on the 90%, and that's where it gets hard.
Yeah. In the psychology called neuro-linguistic programming, you like from the movie, the original Ghostbusters, you make them into one of those like clown monsters, like the Pillsbury Doughboy, or like a big bozo clown going back and forth. It's like full of air, like a big plastic Macy's Day Parade model. And you see them, you transform them into that, or you give them a chicken head turned around backwards, and they're flapping their wings and you recreate them. They're so ridiculous, you can't invest any serious energy in them, and you move on.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, are you serious? 100%. Play with it, try it. It's like a toy, you know? Have you ever done anything like that? No? It might be fun,
Is
you
that
know?
like saying picture them in their underwear so you can speak publicly?
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, it is our minds.
It
minds
is.
that get us,
yeah.
usually.
What was it in the Harry Potter movie, I think? When the one teacher, I can't remember his name, but he would show them a monster, and then he would give them this magical word, ridiculous, and they would change. Like the giant spider had roller skates on it, it was falling down, you know, or something, or somebody else turned into a balloon and flew away, you know. So that's just like a little trick from NLP, and because I mean, it's like picture your mind or my mind like an old radio. Now, am I saying we're going to do this perfectly? Nope. We're not, because you have the weight of the old habit is going to be slowly overcome by the weight of the new habit over years. But in the meanwhile, you're doing yourself a slowly cumulative favor, you know. What else would you like to add to that?
I think it's a good cover. I mean,
Okay.
it really boils down to you. I mean, that is the truth.
Right.
It's a good trick. It's a good, I think we covered what you could do and how you do it.
Right.
But the question is, will you do it, right?
Right. I have, you know.
Will you try it?
Right. A buddy of mine died a few months ago. Very sad. Very, very sad. Not a young man, but I was hoping he was the older brother of my best friend in high school. And after my friend disappeared and died, my friend was a chronic drunk and a chain smoker, and he had diabetes. He destroyed himself. He was as nice a person as you could have ever met, except to himself.
Yeah.
You know? So my buddy Bob died, and how do I represent that to myself? And the value, I can either say, this was a great guy and I was very lucky to share time and get to know him over a number of years, or it's not fair, I wanted more time being buds, right? That's my choice, right? So that's that.
All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Reclaiming Timeless Ways. Until next time, have a great day.